Alright, you delightful human beings, and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Christina, aka That Variety Nerd, and today we are gathered here for a bit of an interesting video, to say the least, because The Rock has a press conference right after Smackdown, but we're here to watch it as a community. We're quite exhausted because we're literally watching this right after Smackdown, and Smackdown was very long this week. Spoiler alert. But either way, The Rock had a moment with Cody during the show, and it was just a very bizarre situation. And just, yeah, like, he came out and was like, I'll be your champion, Cody. And, you know, it makes sense in a sense where it's like, okay, well, Cody already has everything that he wants, but what if he wants more? And The Rock wants Cody's soul. So that all happened. Either way, we're here to watch the post-Smackdown press conference with The Rock at 11-something at night after we just watched him react to 3 hours of Smackdown. So grab your snacks, grab your choice of beverage, definitely get comfy and cozy because it's 11 o'clock at night over here, and we'll see what shenanigans happen during this press conference, if any. It could be something, it could be nothing. Alrighty, we're finally starting this press conference at 11:10 at night. Eastern Standard Time. We gotta see what happens. Quite the buzz is an understatement, Byron. Quite the buzz. Okay, so first question is about the decision to return to New Orleans for WrestleMania next year. Is The Rock turning into Emperor Palpatine? I mean, maybe he is. New Orleans just had the Super Bowl too, and that's been kind of the pattern over the last few years, which, again, as a local, like, you get kind of priced out of stuff like this, because it's like, you gotta save up to go to the Super Bowl if you're able to even go, and then you gotta save up another round of monies for WrestleMania too. So, I mean, I get that you're gonna have people coming in from all 50 states and all over the globe and stuff like that, but yeah. We're not really giving, like, actual answers other than it's been a great city for wrestling fans. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, they didn't really give, like, exact reasons or answers as to why they picked New Orleans for Mania. But next question is the entrance music. He had licensed music. Okay, so next question is about the Netflix WWE partnership. I feel like we had more of an actual answer with the hip-hop question than the first question about why New Orleans got picked for Mania. Oh yeah, no, I think it makes all the sense in the world for WWE to partner up with Netflix. And Netflix is in just so many homes, like not just in the US, but across just the entire globe. A lot of the archives and stuff like that are on Netflix now for our international friends, which is really cool. So, I mean, I wonder if we're gonna all eventually just be on Netflix with our wrestling content, because I know, like, the Peacock deal, it was confirmed, actually, and this was an answer, this was something that we should talk about too. You know, are they gonna stay on Peacock? Are they gonna also migrate over to Netflix so that we're all on Netflix? I don't know. I really have no idea, but it does raise that question. What happens with the Peacock deal when it's up, you know, next year? And they're probably going to work something out. I think they mentioned in an article that they were going through to see, like, what was going on for next year. So yeah, I'm all for it. I've actually enjoyed Raw on Netflix so far, except for, like, that one main event with Punk and Sammy that was all glitching out, but otherwise I've had no problems with it. And it's more exposure. We want more people to watch this stuff. I don't know if I would use week over week as a good metric though. Maybe like quarter over quarter, maybe, if we look at the overall viewership, because seasonal trends are a thing. Okay, so somebody's asking about what happened during the segment tonight. Oh my lord. We had so many thoughts about that segment during that segment. He's literally becoming the final boss. I see what he's doing now. I see what he's doing. Yeah, the whole segment was just so bizarre. I'm like, what is happening? He's like going back and forth between, like, here's WrestleMania, then shut up everybody, and going off on people. It never has to culminate to a match. Listen, like, we all have little, like, we always toss around ideas over here on the reaction channel of, like, oh, I would like to see this person feud with this person, or, you know, I would like to see this feud, mainly because I want to see these two people just go at each other on the microphone. I'm a girly pop that enjoys all the talking segments. I like the promos and so on and so forth, and I like a good character. But just as much I like a good match, you know, I like a healthy balance, right? Because, you know, it's all about telling a story, whether that's on a microphone, in the ring, in ideally a combination of both. To say that this doesn't need to go to a match, I mean, there's too much history. I mean, these two were in the main event of night one in that tag team match last year, and then night 2, he showed up to help Roman Reigns during the main event of night 2 last year when Cody and Roman 2 happened, when Cody won the title. I'm seeing all the L's in the chat for this on the YouTube stream right now, and it's just funny. And sometimes too, like, we just want to see people just have moments together, but like, this is one that I feel like should lead to something than just a moment. And that's what he's getting at. It's just like, oh, we just need the moment. And it's like, this situation here, like these two, like, you know, just last year's build up. That's all I'm going to point to. Listen, I'm a foodie too, but this next question is asking about what foods that he would want to have in New Orleans. I swear that person on the censor button, they're on it tonight. Okay, now we're back to the rapper question now. Favorite rappers from Louisiana. Are we not asking the real question here? When's he going up against Roman? Did we not have WrestleMania at the Superdome like twice already? Okay, so he's kind of going back and addressing more of the New Orleans lore, to say the least. But yeah, no, everybody's like tossing L's in the chat. You too. I mean, listen, a lot of us are up late watching this. I didn't sleep too great last night. We need like closure at the very least if we don't get a match. And I don't have any closure after tonight. I just have more questions than anything. Yeah, but like none of this addresses why New Orleans was picked to host WrestleMania. I understand like Los Angeles because California was supposed to get WrestleMania, but then like the panorama happened and then like it kind of got pushed ahead a couple years, right? And Las Vegas, that one makes sense to me because it's been like forever since they've had a WrestleMania, and it's Las Vegas. Like, that just naturally makes sense. New Orleans, this is their third WrestleMania within, like, I think 15 years, because they had Mania 30, they had 34, and now they're about to have 42. Okay, so finally, this reporter might be on to why they possibly picked New Orleans, and that was because they upgraded the Superdome. Okay, that's fair. And, like, you know, they obviously hosted the Super Bowl, right? So, I mean, they could clearly handle a WrestleMania. That logically makes sense. Ancillary programming? What? Okay, ancillary programming can refer to the additional content or data that accompanies television broadcasts. So that's like behind the scenes stuff. I'm like, I've heard of this term somewhere, but my God. Like, Smackdown and Raw are not ancillary programs. Like, what is this? Like, they're the weekly stories. They're the weekly shows. So, okay, we kind of got an answer there. Upgraded Dome. I mean, that would make sense, right? And production-y things. Rock versus IWC. Okay, so this reporter's asking about if there was a moment that broke the Rock's spirit because, you know, WrestleMania can either make or break your spirit pretty much, and how he overcame that. These questions, I have so many questions about these questions. I really do. Just saying. I get that, like, this is supposed to be geared towards, like, people that, like, you know, haven't watched WWE or anything like that. But it's like, we don't really need, like, the history lesson here. This meeting could have been an email. I know they already established, like, hey, we're not gonna hide anything. Like, remember that press conference with the Netflix stuff? But it's still so bizarre that we're just kind of breaking the fourth wall. What is the point of this press conference, by the way? Like, I'm assuming it's because of the Mania New Orleans announcement portion, right? But it's like, where are the specifics other than upgraded dome? Give us more of the data. Give us more insight. It's been a minute since we've been actually paying attention to this because I'm like listening in and like trying to get little interesting nuggets, but yeah, your interview is just as good as the questions that you ask. That's kind of like interviewing 101, right? Like, you obviously need to have like some questions kind of like, okay, here are the questions that I would like to ask if I can, but you also have to be ready to kind of follow up on those questions, right? And let the conversation just naturally happen. The best interviews are the ones that like are just regular conversations. And it's like, for a press conference that probably was supposed to be like about the Mania announcement in New Orleans, why are we not really following up on these questions? Like, prod in a little bit more about, okay, other than the Dome, you know, what other cities were in contention? And like, what other variables were at stake, right? Like, what other variables were into the decision to have WrestleMania in New Orleans? Like, it shouldn't be about like the subject matter at hand necessarily. It should be about the announcement, right? Like, you know, what's the process like of like picking out a WrestleMania? Like all of those things. That's the stuff that like should be asked. So now we're going into some life stuff about just how we need to be real and authentic. This might be a life nugget for me, I don't know, but like there is like a mental shift that happens. If anybody that is like in their late 20s and older in the comments, they might be able to attest to this, but some sort of weird mental shift like happens in your late 20s where it's like suddenly everything just kind of clicks into gear and you kind of almost become a teenager again, except like this time you're kind of just unapologetically yourself. Like things just get more clear, your priorities get a little clearer, just things start to really click into gear of like what you want, who you are, things that you want to do somewhere in your late 20s. And it might have hit me at 27 and kind of here in this 28th year at some point, but it does click somewhere. So that's just my perspective as somebody that's like currently in their late 20s approaching 30 next year. So well, what was your God. You're not gonna get booed. People were booing you tonight because the final boss is supposed to get booed.
Maybe I will.
Oh, thank God. We only got like 3.5 minutes left in this. Okay, that's an interesting question, but I feel like it's kind of like stuff that you could look up or that has been in media already, right? I feel like that one person in the chat said it best. This could have been answered in an email. This could have and should have been focused on like WrestleMania or even what happened tonight possibly, or what might happen at Elimination Chamber. I don't know, just this whole press conference was weird to me. God, this is a recurring theme. I have questions about the questions that were asked at this press conference. Yeah, I think that's a good summation of things. I have questions about questions and I have more questions about what all happened tonight, just in general. But that was the press conference in a nutshell, pretty much. Again, this just happened. This whole video was maybe about 36 minutes with some loading screens in there, so probably about a half an hour. And I feel like we didn't really get much answered. Let me know what y'all thought about the press conference if you watched it down in the comments down below. So on that note, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff here on the channel, and I will see you all in the next one.